Hey there, so you need a breast simulation. Here's what you'll get at the end of this video. You can see an example on the left. It's completely real-time, so you don't need to wait for baking to see your changes. It has a pretty good result. Not as good as with soft body simulation, but definitely way better that Spring Bones add-on can offer. The result can also be easily baked and exported into game engines. And unlike the Spring Bones add-on, it's FPS insensitive, so you'll get the same result with any FPS of your animation. Last but not least, you have an absolute control over the output result. So you can combine it with other approaches like soft body simulation, adjust movement with modifiers, and even use manual animation with shape keys, which is a huge benefit for me. But this method is not the easiest one to set up, but on the other hand also not the hardest one. It's somewhere in the middle. The only disadvantage that I found is that it doesn't support collisions with other objects, but you can combine this approach with soft body simulation or shape keys for this. So when we have breast bones, we just create this smile shape, making sure that its bottom point is aligned with the bone's heads, and add these edges to prevent unneeded movement. Now we pin these points and add a cloth simulation with these settings. At this point we have our simulation that we need to transfer to the breast bones. For this we create two intermediate bones and parent them to these points using copy location constraint. The bottom one is responsible for up-down and front-back movement, and the top one is for left-right movement. So to combine whole movement we copy local left-right movement from top bone to the bottom one with another copy location constraint. After that we create two target empties and parent them to the bottom bone. The last thing to do is to add two constraints in this exact order. Copy local Z location of the bottom bone with reduced influence and stretch to target empties. So as a start point I have this skeleton and animation. Pretty basic, nothing special. Firstly we hide the model and create a new collection for all the breast simulation objects so it will be easy to hide them later during the work on animation itself. In this collection we need to create a plane and remove two of its vertices. Align two other ones with breastbone heads and subdivide this edge 3 times. With these vertices make a smile shape. And consider that the bigger breast your model has the more of U shape you'll need, and the smaller it is the more straight this line will be. After that we duplicate the middle vertex along the Z-axis and extrude it. And here the same principle works, the bigger the breast the longer this edge. Don't forget to align everything so the bottom vertex is at the same height as the bone's heads. Now we add support edges that will prevent unneeded movement like stretching too far from the body or wiggling too much from side to side. The bottom support edges should be high enough to not affect up and down movement of the middle vertex, and the top one should be roughly the same length as the main edge. Lastly we pin outer vertices and parent this object to the spine bone. Now go to the Physics tab and add Cloth Simulation. Change mass to 1 kg, reduce tension to 1 so the breast has a bit smoother movement direction change, reduce compression all the way to 0, so support edges don't affect simulation when it's not needed, change the bake end to the end frame of your animation, add pin group and disable collisions. Now you can see your basic simulation. To transfer it to the bone start with creation of two vertex groups for the bottom target vertex and the top one. After that create two additional bones in your skeleton and make them follow these vertices with copy location constraint. Last thing for these two bones is to add a constraint to copy the local left-right movement from top bone to the bottom one. The target axis for this can differ depending on your bone's orientation. Now create two empties and parent them to the bottom intermediate bone and we're almost done. To finish the simulation add two constraints to each breastbone in this exact order, copy location and then stretch to. Copy location should aim the bottom simulation bone vertical axis, in my case it's X. The influence of this constraint determines the percentage of bone shifting and rotation. The bigger the number, the more movement and less rotation of the bones. So this parameter also depends on the breast size. Bigger breasts will require more rotation and smaller ones will require more movement percentage. Lastly, add stretch to constraint to breastbone, aiming the corresponding empty. In case if you got this situation, just invert axis for the problematic bone copy location constraint. And as I said before, you can adjust the result with constraints like limit location rotation or scale, or also play with the shape of your simulation object or cloth settings, as well as adjust weight painting or use smooth modifier on the areas where breast weights blend with spine ones. As always, good luck with your art.